Hey everybody, my name is Professor Matthew. It is great to be here today. Today we're going to learn a little bit about your favorite topic to learn about, every Christian's favorite topic to learn about, and that is church polity and government. Some of you are like, why does that matter? Well, I want to talk today a little bit about why that matters. There are three main types of church polity or church government. The first style is called Episcopalian. The second style is called Presbyterian. And the final style that I'm going to be talking about is called Congregational. Let's talk about the first one, Episcopalian. This comes from the Greek word episkopos, which simply means an overseer or single individual that oversees multiple churches. This could be represented through a denomination or in a multi-site church with one pastor or figure overseeing. A couple different examples of an episcopal style of church government is like the Roman Catholic Church. That's probably the most famous style. You have one singular figure, obviously the Pope in this style of church, who's overseeing the entire denomination of Catholics, or the entire Catholic body. Another style is another example is the Anglican Church, which is the Church of England, or the Episcopalian Church in the U.S. and Canada. It is that style as well. Another one is Greek Orthodox. Greek Orthodox Church is also Episcopalian in style. Presbyterian is the other style we want to talk about today. Presbyterian comes from the Greek word presbyteros. Presbyteros this style is similar to Episcopalian, but instead of a singular overseeing figure, this model is presided over by a court or group of overseers or elders. That word presbyteros is elders that oversee multiple churches. Right, and so that's a Presbyterian style. A couple different examples of Presbyterian style is our own denomination, the Assemblies of God, is a Presbyterian style. It's a little different. I'll talk about that in a second. Southern Baptist Convention is a Presbyterian style. There's a convention of elders, mature Christians who meet and discuss church polity and so forth. A lot of different evangelical denominations are also this style as well. Another style is the congregational style, the last style I'm going to be talking about today. That is, each local church oversees itself as opposed to an outside leading hierarchy. That is, the church itself, the local church, is in charge of itself. They appoint their own elders. They determine who's going to be their pastor and who's not going to be pastor, usually by a process of voting and so forth. And so that's called congregational style. A couple different examples of congregational style are non-denominational churches, not connected to any organization, but just the church themselves are congregational in style oftentimes. Southern Baptist and Assemblies of God, which may confuse you because I just talked about those being Presbyterian style. Well, they're kind of a hybrid. The Assemblies of God is actually a hybrid of congregational and Presbyterian, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. And then also voluntary cooperative fellowships. I want to say this: it is not a strict rule. That is, there can be overlap in all of these styles. You can have a church that's both congregational and Presbyterian, a church that's both congregational and Episcopalian. So it is possible for local churches and congregational churches to also have an Episcopal style of government or a Presbyterian style of government as well. For example, if you have a single church that's ran by one person, like the senior pastor has all the power and all the decision-making process, that's an Episcopalian style, of course. Or Presbyterian style is you have a church board of elders that oversee the entire church. Well, that's a Presbyterian style of congregational church, so you can absolutely see overlap there as well. Where does the AG play in all this? As I mentioned before, the AG is unique in that it is a mix of Presbyterian and congregational polity. There's districts and a board of presbyters over regions and churches, but each church can be sovereign and create their own boards and bylaws without denominational approval or overseer insight. That is, you can have a sovereign church. An AG church can be connected to a presbytery board, right? But it's still a sovereign church and can make its own decisions, can hire its own pastors, can decide who's going to be on the board, vote on who's going to be on the board and who's not, and be congregational in style as well. So the Assemblies of God is unique in that setting. A couple different sources for this presentation on church polity, church government are Mark Dever and Nine Marks Ministry. He has an excellent discussion on church polity. His whole ministry is on church polity, primarily promoting congregational style churches. Remnant Radio, which goes into this amazing podcast on the history of the AG, and gotquestions.org. Hey, thank you so much, everybody, and hope you have a great rest of your day.